All right, we're back, everybody. I did a spot at the Comedy Store in LA. A lot of fun. We are on the second leg of the show. We're slightly calmer. I filled in for Eliza Schlesinger, and me and her have different fan bases. So there was a lot of hot chicks in the show with the boots up on the stage. But it was a great set. They were a fun audience, and I'm thankful that I was, thanks for putting me in, coach. A lot of fun. Some of the women, chatted during my set, but I get it. If you come to see her and you get me, it's a little bit of a culture shock. I get it. She's very successful. I met her once, and we had a little bit of it was like, it wasn't great, our meeting. It wasn't phenomenal. I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to start airing, whatever. It wasn't anything memorable. She wouldn't remember me. It's just like, people said to me, they're like, do you have any opinion on the Pete Davidson Louis thing? And, in Pete's special, he described it. I'm like, yeah, I have an opinion on it. They're both millionaires and I'm not. So I'll stay out of it and I'll let them handle it. And I'll ask them to, buy me a donut. That's my position. What's your position on the Louis David? What? I don't know either of them. What are you talking about? They're both doing great. I got a studio here in an apartment. We're trying to live, trying to survive. I got to fucking decide which one of them I want to alienate. I support both of them. I agree with both of you, fine sirs. And if either one of you want to produce anything I'm doing, let's. Hillary Clinton is starting a podcast, and many people know my affinity for Hillary Clinton. And I don't even mean as a joke. I do respect. You can't be a student of history and not have some level, I don't want to use the word affection, but you are in awe of certain people's abilities, even if they are murderers, even if they have sexual problems, as her husband seems to. But you look at a guy like that, who was a Rhodes Scholar, smart guy. The human brain is fascinating. Some of the most talented people in the world have things that are deeply wrong with them. Michael Jackson, maybe Woody Allen. I don't know. Maybe. Allegedly, like, brilliant people, insanely talented people in certain cases have real issues. Bill Clinton was an incredibly gifted political mind. Watch his speeches. Watch his ability to communicate with people. He would go into a room and make these, single mothers think he gave a fuck. Mm. And he wanted to fuck. He didn't give a fuck. He wanted to fuck. It's an amazing skill set. And there's very few people that I've seen have things that approximate that skill set up close. Some people are magic. I've met a few people that are magic, have those qualities. Gerard Carmichael, comedian, producer, has a quality of magic where when you're talking to him, you feel like you're the only person he's talking to or thinking about, or he makes you feel very good. Now, he's a good guy. I'm not saying that this is not, who he is, but I'm also saying that, like, it's a skill. It's a skill. Some of these people are great salesmen. Some of them are great politicians. None of the words, because the word salesman makes you think of somebody like me. It doesn't make you. What I'm trying to describe is hard to really put into words because it's a magical quality that certain people have, star power, whatever you want to say. It's infectious. You want them to like you. You trust them. Hillary Clinton did not have any of that. She didn't have it. Her husband had it. Hillary has a lot of other qualities. She's a great deal maker. She's a great behind-the-scenes operator. She's, a tough bitch. She knows how to, string up a noose. Metaphorically. But Clinton was elected the governor of our, he went to, where did he go? Georgetown, Yale, Harvard, Oxford. Yale, Oxford, Georgetown. His mentor was a guy named Carol Quigley, who wrote a book called Tragedy and Hope, which is this huge, epic history of the world in our time. Talks about, the Eastern establishment, the Anglo-American empire, everything. It's really a history of everything. And, people have put it, as it's like they've said the genre is, conspiracy literature, but it's really, it's much more than that. It's really an amazing compendium of all of these councils and all of these groups of people that have shaped and continue to shape the world. And that was Clinton's mentor. And Clinton was elected to governor of Arkansas, I believe at 31. He was like the boy governor. He was a young governor. Right about the time the CIA was flying, planes full of coke into Mena, Arkansas, and dropping off that so that we could put it into inner cities and fund the Contras. It was, there's so much evidence of that. And Clinton was, like, hey, kept his mouth shut. There were two boys who were hanging out down by where one of those drops was happening. And I think their name were like Kevin Lyles and Don something. I don't know. The Boys on the Tracks was the documentary about it or the film about it, and they were somewhere in this secret airfield or wherever where they had witnessed something they should not have witnessed, and then, like many young teens do, they ended up smoking marijuana and falling asleep on the train tracks. Well, I've smoked a lot of weed, and I've never fallen asleep on the train tracks, but this is the story. You have their names?
Don Henry and Kevin Ives.
Yeah, Kevin Ives and Don Henry. And they ended up, falling asleep on the train tracks and getting killed. Nobody bought this. But, they witnessed something they shouldn't have witnessed. This is when, and is Clinton the governor at this time? I'm pretty sure he is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Clinton's the governor of Arkansas during this time. So again, this is, his bona fides are established here. He then is mentored and guided. Then he ends up at like the Bilderberg Conference. Again, as the governor of Arkansas. What does the state of Arkansas have to say about international finance? Not much. But he ends up there. And then he ends up getting elected to the presidency twice and defeating George H.W. Bush, friend of the show. Done many episodes on him. Many episodes on the Bush family. Don't worry about them. They get it popping, There's no shrinking violets over there. They're deeply connected, much deeper than the Clintons. The Clintons were like trash, in the sense that they were, being... but the people that make the Clintons, like, and I do it too as a joke, you make them like into a boogeyman. They're not running the show. They're amoral people. That is why I do it, because I want you to know how amoral your leaders are. But when it comes, the Bushes were deeply connected to the intelligence apparatus, deeply. But Hillary is now starting a podcast. My friend Hillary. I mean, I don't want to do a million hack jokes about her podcast. It's just, here's what I will say. How far the mighty have fallen. How far the mighty have fallen. From the world stage. From murdering Vince Foster. From arranging the suicides of many of your Secret Service people. From the Clinton Global Initiative laundering dark money from all over the world. From the Epsteins, from the islands, from Little St. James to reading an ad for Blue Chew. How the mighty have fallen. It comes for all of us at the end, doesn't it, folks? If you need, go get a potato and put a Marlboro Light in its mouth and watch that and then press play on your phone.